You want to make a fancy 3D stained glass Christmas tree for Christmas so everybody thinks you're fantastic? Come along, I'll show you how. We're starting off by tinning, which is putting a super duper thin coating of solder on your foil. We're doing that because it makes for nice edge beading. It's like priming before you paint. If you're using a textured glass like I am here, you're gonna have to put a little extra on just to get into all those grooves. Now we're doing the back end here, as you can see, super thin. And we are not going to edge bead this part. You want it super flat and thin like that, because if not, when we go to do the assembly, the lumps and bumps are going to make all your pieces not stick together correctly. And now we are going to do some edge beading. Right now I'm doing the blobby method here, going down the sides first, and then we're going to come through and connect it all together. If you're newer to edge beading, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing more even blobs than I'm doing. Don't be sloppy like this. If you've been doing it a while, you can be sloppier. Because you have a better eye for how to spread the lumps out better. If you're newer, it's harder to keep an eye on that and harder to get a feel for that. So try to keep them even, because it will make for a more even and easier spread of your solder. Once you get good at it, though, be as sloppy as you want to be. All right, here we go. Blop, 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 blop. And take a look at it. Everybody looks good. Do the bottom, edge bead the bottom. Again, we are not going to edge bead that long piece. Now you want to grab your brass rod. I'm using 1/8 inch here, which is a good size to use. You can also use 12 gauge zinc coated steel. And you want to cut it that it does not stick out farther than your pieces do. Make sure you get your head in the way too. I just have a ruler there just to make sure everybody's straight and together. Now you're going to fill in. And again, we're just tinning here. You don't want to have like a bunch of lumpy bumpies, because again, it won't fit together, right? But I'm taking my time with it, going pretty slow, because you really want to melt that solder in and get it to encapsulate your rod or your wire, whatever you have. Samesies on the other side. And we're just spreading it out here so it's nice and flat. Now you're going to grab your Creator's Angle Master jig. We're going to put our 60-degree angles here. Set up 2 of them with the super stop down at the bottom. And your paper here. That paper helps to prevent it from burning the plastic. Do a little tack at the bottom, little tack at the top. You can see in that graphic here how you want to line your pieces of glass up so you have a nice little V. You don't want to solder the whole thing, because we want to make sure everything's sitting correctly. Whoop! Shuck your flux brush. And since everything was lined up right, we can add some more solder into the mix. When we're done with this, we're going to do a second set just like this. All right, make sure we stand up okay. We're standing flat. Everything's all right. Okay, we're good. Now you're going to fill in the back. You just want to fill in the V a little bit. You don't want to like solder it that it's domed and rounded. It's going to be flat on the back, kind of like when we tinned. Again, because when you go to put things together, if you have lumpy bumpies, it's going to not fit together well. And now we can go in and do some fixes on this side. You're probably going to want to let it cool a little bit in between, and you can fix your lines on this side. Note that your lines don't have to be perfect, because we're going to do some fun decorative work later. And now I grabbed the clear piece, one of those clear angles, and stuck it here because it's taller. So you can get this lined up. We put our flat piece on the bottom, and now we're putting our first V on the top. Get everybody lined up nicely. And we're just going to tack everything in there. Make sure everything looks good. We're looking from both sides. And now I'm going to do a little tack on the top. Because I only did light tacks, you can kind of roach it back and forth just a little bit to get it right where you want it. You don't want to hulk it, because then you'll peel your foil up. So you can just do tiny little micro movements if you need to do a little bit of adjustment. If you need to do a lot, melt your solder off and call a do-over. All right, now we're flipping that whole thing upside down, and we're going to grab the second set of V's here that we did. And we're going to place it on top of the Creator's blocks here, the handy wedges. Grabbing my ruler to make sure everybody is lined up straight, so it'll sit flat on the table. Take your time with this. This is like micro adjustments. Back and forth, back and forth. And we're just going to do a little tack on the bottom. Just a light tack, so it's just enough to hold it together. And make sure everybody's lined up right, and then we're going to solder the top together. You can see that it's a little on the table yet. It's not like flat straight. That's okay, because we have that little lump on the bottom that we did. We're going to even that all out. All right, so you want to even that out. Make sure your edge beads are even, and then we're going to just put little tiny dollops. You want to try to get them as close to the same size as you possibly can on the ends there, so they act as little feet. Once you have that sitting straight, then we're going to go in, and this is where you can either fix all of your solder lines to make them nice and smooth, or you don't have to, and you can do these little decorative dots instead and make it fancy. Either way, you need to make sure that you're soldered fully underneath, that there's no gaps or anything, but you don't have to make it quite as pretty if you're going to do decorative dots on top. Now we put a little dot on the top for funsies. And ta-da, looking pretty good. Just double check everything, see if anybody needs any fixes. And we're all done. Let me know if you got any questions at all. Peace, love, stained glass. Oh, goodbye.